Welcome to FoodBite. In this guide, we will set up the Flutter Customer App locally. The steps are the same for other Flutter projects like the Restaurant app, Deliveryman app, and more. Before proceeding, make sure you have installed all required tools and software to run the customer app. Please refer to our official documentation for guidance on setting up the tools. First, open the customer app from the downloaded Code Canyon source code in your preferred code editor. Next, open the customer app directory in your terminal or command prompt and run the command to install Flutter project dependencies. Make sure Flutter and all required tools are properly set up. Please follow the steps carefully. Now we will change the customer app package name, Android, and bundle identifier, iOS. Follow the documentation to update both platforms. Make sure the package name is unique. After running the command to change the package name, verify that it has been updated correctly. Now, let's change the app name for both Android and iOS. Update the Android app name in androidmanifest.xml, the iOS app name in info.plist, and the internal app name in the end.dart file. Please follow the steps carefully to avoid configuration issues. Please follow the steps carefully to avoid configuration issues. Please follow the steps carefully to avoid configuration issues. Please follow the steps carefully to avoid configuration issues. Next, the most important step is to set up Firebase. Make sure the Firebase CLI and Flutterfire CLI are installed. Firebase is required for authentication, push notifications, crash analytics, and analytics, so please follow this step carefully. From the Firebase console dashboard, create a new Firebase project. You only need one Firebase project for the entire FoodBite system. Do not create separate projects for admin, customer, restaurant, etc. You may create one project for testing or one for production, as needed. Please follow the steps carefully to avoid configuration issues. Please follow the steps carefully to avoid configuration issues. Once the Firebase project is created, set up Firebase for both Android and iOS. Make sure Firebase CLI and Flutterfire CLI are installed on your machine and that you are logged in with the same Firebase account and project. Please follow the steps carefully. Before setting up Firebase for Android and iOS, we need to remove the existing Firebase configuration files from the project. Carefully delete the files mentioned in the documentation from the Android, iOS, lib, and root directories. Please follow this step carefully. Make sure you are logged in with the same Firebase account in both the Firebase console and Firebase CLI. To add your Firebase project to the Flutter Customer App, run the Flutterfire configure command. Select your newly created Firebase project and choose both Android and iOS platforms. This command will automatically create the required platform apps in Firebase and link them to your customer app. After generating the Firebase platforms, verify the setup in the project root, lib, Android, and iOS folders. Make sure your own package name is applied and confirm that everything is loaded correctly. Refresh the Firebase console dashboard and you should see the Android and iOS platforms added during the Flutterfire configuration. If the platforms were not created automatically, you can create them manually and place the configuration files in the respective folders. However, we strongly recommend using the Flutterfire CLI. Please follow the steps carefully to avoid configuration issues. The next and most important step for the entire FoodBite project is setting up Google Maps API keys. Google Maps is required for map display, places autocomplete, directions and routes, markers and pins, and distance calculations. Make sure you generate Google Maps API keys and enable all the required services for your project before proceeding. It is recommended to generate separate Google Maps API keys for Android, iOS, and web projects individually. Once the Google Maps API keys are generated, add them to the env.dart file and also configure them in the Android and iOS platform files. Now, add your Node.js and MongoDB API to the customer app. You can use either a live API URL or a local API URL. For this guide, we will use the live API URL and place it in the end.dart file. Please follow the steps carefully. Please refer to our official documentation for customizing the app, including locale settings, colors, static images, logos, and other UI elements. Now that all setups are complete, let's run the app. You can run the Flutter project on Google Chrome, an emulator, simulator, or a real device. Note that some native libraries may not work on Chrome, so it's recommended to test on a real device for accurate testing and customizations. These steps are common for all Flutter projects, including the Customer App, Restaurant App, and Deliveryman app. Once the app runs on Chrome, you can also run it on emulators and simulators. Make sure Android Studio and Code are installed. You can make customizations and test on real devices, and it's recommended to test the app on different devices before creating a production build. These steps are common for all Flutter projects, including the Customer App, Restaurant App, and Deliveryman app.